Adil Rashid claimed the highest score of his career as Yorkshire racked up yet more runs on the second day of their LV County Championship match with Somerset at Headingley Carnegie before the visitors responded in kind under some tough circumstances. Masses of runs have been scored on the first day, with Yorkshire making 332 for 5, but after a delayed start because of the light, the overhead clouds suggested that this day might be different. This ball went for 4 byes. Rashid had had an unforgettable opening day, sharing in a record-breaking 5th wicket partnership with Gary Ballance, which meant that he started the second morning with 120 runs already to his name. And although the conditions were suiting the quick bowlers much more after play started an hour late, the all-rounder was still able to play his shots, and with Andrew Hodd, he carried the total up to 370 before Somerset had their first moment of joy. That came when Hodd, on 27, edged a ripper from Steve Kirby behind in the day's 10th over. Kirby and Peter Trigo worked their hearts out in the morning, with the latter being rewarded with a wicket of Tim Bresnan, LBW, for a 5th ball duck. 2 wickets had fallen in 2 overs, but Somerset were unable then to finish off the innings as they would have liked. Instead, Rich Pyra came in and played beautifully, speeding the score along with a host of boundaries, including 4 off a single Trigo over straight after lunch. Indeed, the way he played, it looked as if he was the man with a big 100 to his name rather than his partner. That big 100 turned into a 150 for Rashid in the afternoon. He's rarely had the opportunity to bat as high as number 6, but having reached this milestone off 228 balls, from which he'd struck 22 fours, there is every chance we'll see him there again. Yorkshire had finished 5 runs short of collecting maximum batting bonus points, but that wasn't too much of a concern right now. They just wanted to continue to hassle their visitors. Pyra did that magnificently, and a single took him to his excellent half-century, which had been made at a run a ball with 7 fours. It was an innings which had been produced at just the right time, as again Somerset found themselves in the field for a very long time. In their last match, they'd failed to bowl Warwickshire out to win in 144 overs, while against Surrey they'd had to field for 135. Something similar was on the cards here, as Rashid and Pyra batted on with little discomfort in taking the total to 450 and their own partnership to 79. The shot that Pyra was out to, bowled by Jamie Overton, did not reflect his innings one little bit. He was dismissed for 55. And Yorkshire added a further 55 runs in the next dozen overs too. While Rashid slowed down, Jack Brooks reached one of his better first-class scores with a couple of towering sixes off Jack Leach. He helped take Yorkshire to 500 for the second innings in succession on this ground. Rashid had made his highest score, passing his previous best of 157 not out, made against rivals Lancashire 4 years ago, on 180, and now with 4,000 first-class runs to his name, to go with his 303 wickets, he finally nicked Trigo behind, and the declaration was made immediately. Yorkshire had struck 505 for 9, with Brooks adding 33, and now an exhausted Somerset, who'd been in the field for another 135 overs, had to find the strength to fight back, something that Derbyshire had failed to do in their defeat at this ground last week. Then again, they didn't have Marcus Trescothick. Yorkshire bowled superbly and thought they had both openers out. Brooks especially upset when this appeal for a catch behind against Nick Compton was answered in the negative by the umpire George Sharp. Brooks and Bresnan both beat the bat on a number of occasions, but between those alarms, Compton and Trescothick played some delightful strokes. Even with 500 runs on the board and on a good batting surface, bowlers would have been queuing up to test themselves against Somerset's top 3 in this match. Compton, Trescothick and Alvaro Peterson. The latter was not required on this day though. That was because both openers played extremely well against this fine and well-balanced Yorkshire attack. Bresnan perhaps should have known better not to give Trescothick much room outside his off-stump. He rarely misses the opportunity to score runs there. While Pyra was guilty of getting his line wrong here, as Somerset made a good, if unspectacular, start to their reply. Trescothick reached his 50 before the close, a half-century made from 114 balls with 10 boundaries. One thing he's unusually failed to do so far this summer is go on and turn such a start into a big 100, and the same was to happen here. Because next ball he was beaten for pace by Brooks and trapped in front for 53 to end an opening stand of 90 made in 40 hard-working overs. Yes, the home side had certainly tested out the batsman. This kind of thing not untypical of what occurred. And would you believe it, when the edge was found, the opportunity was spilled by balance in the slips. Night watchman Jack Leach, the lucky man here. It was a fascinating spell of top-quality cricket which saw Somerset make it to 92 for 1 by the close, with Compton still there on 33 made from 133 deliveries. That stat alone tells you how well Yorkshire bowled. Somerset will resume on the third morning, still 413 runs behind.